Peace, family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I want to do is I want to talk to my chosen ones about how you are not in the wrong city or area. It's low vibrations and demonic frequencies everywhere we go. You know, I see a lot of people tend to relay that they may be in the wrong physical spaces. You know, when you actually process your space that you occupy, you start to notice that it's not just that one space that you occupy. It's everywhere. You may not be in California, but it's beings in California experiencing the same thing you're experiencing with low vibrational beings. You may not be in Amsterdam or, you know, Australia, but there's beings over there in these locations that's experiencing the exact same thing. We all want to be so different, but forgetting to understand that we are all so much alike to the same degree. You know, that's how humans have evolved the way we have evolved, whether it was for the betterment of mankind or whether it has been at the detriment of mankind. And we all understand detriment meaning depopulation. You know, it's a lot of things that's being worked on us to beat us down, to knock us down, to tear us apart, you know, to just do a compilation of everything. It's like if they step on your toe and that doesn't affect you, then they're gonna figure out some kind of way to poke you in the back or the neck, you know, slap you in the head. It's gonna be some kind of counter to you blocking. So if you think in defense, we're walking, just minding our own business, you almost trip and stumble, right? Maybe the sidewalk was broken up, they didn't do construction. You trip and stumble, you catch yourself. Soon as you go to catch yourself, here goes, I don't know, let's say a wet spot or a spill or a pool or something. So now as you fixing your stumble and you're recovering for your stumble, now you have to jump or sidestep another obstacle that's in your way. Soon as you sidestep that obstacle, you got to be careful because that's the sidewalk. Now it's traffic right here. So you got bike lanes, you got all of this motion and chaos going on. You know, I know for a lot of us, we tend to feel as though if we change locations, it may be better. On a small percentage scale, that is true. On a very small percentage scale. But the matrix has been embedded in a lot of societies and civilization. So understanding that it's not the locations that we are occupying and, you know, it's just low vibrations that's only in this space around us. No, it is everywhere. And understanding these things is like a lot of people, you can remove demonic and replace it with low vibration. A lot of people don't see themselves as operating on a demonic frequency or a low vibrating frequency because everyone is doing it. So when you get one okay from someone and then another one okays it, doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, it's been okayed by society. They gave it the green check, you know, that stamp. So now, whether they feel it's right or wrong on the inside, they're gonna go along with it because that's what the crowd is doing. It's a lot of people that don't even understand, like a lot of actions, a lot of motion, the way we operate out here is very demonic and low vibration. And when you express this to other people, for some reason they don't believe in demonic vibrations. And even if they do, they don't believe what they're doing is demonic or low vibrated. They just assume, oh, I'm doing me. Well, collectively, if every tree decided to do its own thing, all the bigger trees would be surviving and all of the small bushes and little trees and grass that's around it would be dead, would be dying. So you would have, because this is the only one in view, let's say this tree right here will have all of the life. It would be all of the nutrients. It would be green as it can possibly get. Then you would have everything else around it would be brown. See, they tell you not to focus on one bad apple, but we all understand if you leave a bad apple in a batch of good apples, it's going to rot those other apples 50 times faster than they would have done if it was just all healthy, unrotten apples standing together, bagged up together, sitting together. It's weird being in today's society because all of us that's walking this way of life, we have been like exceeding our awareness, our knowledge and understanding, you know. But there's so many trials and tribulations and obstacles, and the system does a good job at really working its spells on us that we feel as though we aren't as accomplished or still not in the position where we would like to be at. In the physical realm, you know. Everything happens in your inner space first, then out here. So in your inner space, you can be on level 20. But in the physical realm, if it hasn't fully formulated in the spiritual realm, you still can be on level 10 or 15 in the physical world. See, the system understood that with knowledge and this awareness came growth, which is why the economy had to hit the way it hit right now. Because a lot of us are too aware. We were and are too motivated to change our life and our spaces that we occupy and that we're in right now. So when you understand like the depths and the lengths that the system went to do what they do, you know, you have to limit yourself as far as how much you beat yourself down. And then you also have to, which we just discussed, you have to remove these low vibrating beings. You know, it's an old statement, actually 2 old statements. Y'all know I'm not religious, but I vibe with all cultures, nationalities, and if that's your religion that keep you connected with source, I'm vibing with you, I'm warm with you. But it was 2 sayings. One is, if Jesus can't save them, what make you think you can? When you out here trying to uplift low vibrating people, pick them up, move them in a better space, you know, give them meaning. Some of them may have subtle value, but maybe you trying to give them more substance. A lot of these beings are where they at, and they gonna stay where they at until they get to a space of, all right, I no longer am using this playbook and I need to walk a more righteous life. Then you got another statement, which is, don't save her, she don't wanna be saved. So it's been all throughout history, whether you want to look at the religious parts of it or whether you just want to look at the social part of it, because even saying don't save her, you can flip that and say don't save him, he don't want to be saved. It's a lot that goes into these statements. You know, our words don't do as much justice as we would like for them to do, and especially when people don't understand language the way it's supposed to be comprehended and the way the people put it together. You know, most people don't comprehend that each letter comes as a shape, as a sound and vibration, you know, its own. Yes, they have some silent letters and words and things like that, but, you know, it was very detailed and precise how language, this physical language, has been put together. When you run into enough attacks, you don't even want to operate on your free time dealing with low vibrational beings, you know? Because regular conversations are even hard to have with low vibrating people. One, because their vocabulary isn't very large. They're going to regurgitate the same words that every other low vibrating being is using in real life and in the digital world, you know? It's saying the digital world. It's weird when people say the digital world isn't real. We're real people using the digital world as a third party. So when it's being utilized in this kind of formula, you gotta realize is people, you have a portion of beings being more honest and upfront, and it's reflecting through their digital work. And then you got some who are doing the same thing that people was doing before the digital world, lying, masking, manipulating, deceiving, all of these other things. So only low vibrating people really tend to blame technology when you think about it, because a lot of the technology that we utilize, we all understand over on this side that it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages, and you also have to be disciplined as far as how you utilize it. It's like saying that the gun is bad, you know what I mean? Like, the gun doesn't harm anybody. Someone has to pick up and utilize the gun. Just like the car doesn't harm anybody. Somebody has to get in the car and drive it. I take that back. The car can accidentally blow up or have some weird stuff happen with it, you know, but that's like somebody being born with 6 fingers on one hand. When I was little, we actually had more people that was being born with 6 fingers on one hand or 6 toes on one foot. So I guess whatever chemicals they was putting in our foods or, you know, in our system around that time, that it was affecting more of the physical in that way. They done got more precise with it now, so you can see the difference as far as the chemicals and the demonic substances that they're putting out here into the universe and into our foods. You know what I mean? You have, back in the day, when I was younger, you know, all brown women was known for being curvy. All white women was known for having pancakes. You know, they was flat on the backside. Now in today's day and age, we still got brown women that's pretty curvy. That's naturally the genetics, you know. But now you also have all of these other cultures now that you can tell whatever hormones that they're putting in our food has been affecting us and is continuously affecting us, you know. We have to be extra wary and mindful of thinking that if we run off to a new location, that's going to make things better. To a very small degree, depending on your environment. If you in the trap, in the trenches, you can move over to a more quieter neighborhood, but those are still demonic entities around you, your neighbors. They just operate on a different frequency. You know, these ones are low vibrating. So you got to look at low vibrating like this. I'll just do 100% scale, right? You got 100% scale. 50% and under is low vibrating. 51% and higher, you can say high vibrating. This is just for visual preferences, right? So the beings who are, quote unquote, in the subsidized low income houses that, you know, some people may be around and be like, oh no, my environment's bad, you know, shooting, killing, drugs, blah blah blah, all this stuff every day. You got that in the white neighborhoods, you know. It's just they able to pay it off, so you don't hear about it and see it. But these beings down here are operating, let's say the ones in the Section 8s and all of these places, let's say they're operating at a low level of 10%, 20%, you know. But then you move out of that neighborhood to a more upscale neighborhood in your mind, in your world, you would say a more upscale. These beings are still low vibrating. They're just at a 20%, you know what I mean? A few percent higher than the other levels that was in another environment, but they still aren't above that 50%. That's why it feels a little bit more different. The ones that's at the bottom usually are beings that's more in your face with what they're doing. The beings at the next level, a little bit more up from them, which is still low vibrating, they are more deceptive and deceiving, because they understand that their image takes priority first, not the substance. You know what I mean? And then on top of these low vibrating beings, we have a culture of prostitution. You know, we got women all around the world. I mean, prostitution has been going on forever, but it hasn't been legalized. Nobody's saying like don't prostitute, don't be gay, because it's always going to be a percentage that does the demonic work. You know what I mean? But if you have a civilization and a society where there's consequences for that, so you can just, like the way they got the rules set up now. When I was younger, you couldn't smoke weed. You could smoke it, but you would get in trouble if they caught you. It should be the same thing with this legalized prostitution that's going on. You know, a lot of women are prostituting for free. In their minds, they believe, oh, I'm just doing me. I'm sexual liberated. I could do what I want to do. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. Nobody's going to stop you. Because the way the system is structured, there is no shaming, blaming. It's just only gaming for the ones who decide to follow legal prostitution. You know, and we have a lot of women all around the world that's connected to Western society that is in agreement with legal prostitution. You know, you pay me, I can go out on a date with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you buy me this, I can come over to the house and kick it with you. You spend money here, I can give you some of what's between these legs. You know what I mean? That's a form of legal prostitution. You can do it, but it should be consequences if you get caught in the mix of doing these things. You know what I mean? Society has twisted everything up so much that if you don't know the difference between what's right and wrong, or what's moving in a more righteous light, you're gonna find yourself in a very, very what should I say? A very, very, like, you will be in just an extremely low state. I can't fathom the word that I want to use. It's hard for me to process sometimes. I got like nature happening out here. If I would turn around, it's like a whole nest of like bees like this size. I didn't know they was here till I already set up, so I'm just keeping my eye on them. I know they Gucci. Just a little bit distracted me out my thoughts just now. I can hear them flying past me. I don't know if y'all can hear them or see them, but they are like this big. I don't know where they look. As soon as I mention one comes flying around. But understanding these things, I told my daughter recently, because she had a little back and forth with one of her cousins that I had just went and picked up so they could kind of spend some time together. They didn't have any situations when they was together, but when they separated, they ended up having a little situation. Long story short, I was telling my mini that she's already being programmed for the other side. You know, her vibration is very deceptive, you know what I mean? But it's my brother's daughter, so like, I'ma still be present and be around until she gets to a certain level. Then I have to remove myself completely. But as far as right now, I feel like for the younger generation, whether they on a low vibrating or demonic frequency, they need to see what it's like to move in a different light, opposite of what they was known and taught, you know, just by their peers, by the ones who are in their households, the schools, all that, etc., etc. You know, but I told her, like, going back and forth with her when you already know that your older cousin is 2 years older than you, but her mentality just speaking as far as like low vibrational words, her mentality, I really would just say the demonic playbook she's using is of a 5-year-old. You know, so I tell my mini, would you argue with the little baby that's crawling around? And she kind of laughed and was like, no. Well, that's how you have to process some of the people that you will be coming across, you know. She only going in the 3rd grade, but I have to prepare her for these things, you know. And then when she starts doing certain things that her peers is doing, because occasionally we all want to fit in, we do things. Say you do 10 things with your friends. 1 or 2 of those things is going to not be of a godly light, and you're going to be curious of trying it, you know. I try to coach her through these processes and make sure I'm giving her helpful insight and knowledge, because it may not be that meaningful and impactful for her now, but later in life, she may need this knowledge and information, and she don't have to be like, oh, well, I was never given this information. Nobody ever told me. I was never taught or shown any of these other ways. No, your dad has been here fighting this battle the long way. You know what I mean? I'm already fighting against all the oppositions out here, you know. And then you already got the system working their thing with inflation, so now you got to grind extra harder for a dollar bill, when basically all your hours you putting into your job, your work, whatever it is you're doing, is basically just to pay for a roofing over your head and keep your car mobile. You know, you sometimes got some grocery money and you got a little bit extra left over to do what you got to do, but unless you start moving in that demonic frequency, it's extremely hard for righteous ones to come across a nice, healthy bag to be able to live that life without having to operate around so many low vibrating beings, you know. And I'm not saying like there's no righteous ones that don't have the bag, but the ones, you got to understand, if you are really moving with source and creator and you have the bag, right, you would be having land and processing, building a community. Not processing how to travel here, travel there, you know, buy some more merchandise here, create an online course right here, you know, start pumping more content because you know there is no next step for you. A lot of these beings, when they get to these certain spaces with the bag, they don't plan on moving with the creator of God. So they stop right there. It's like they tighten the cap on the soda bottle. They're like, nah, I ain't going no further. I ain't about to do no more. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you positioned in life to do so, why not do it? And that's how you know that a lot of these beings, even some of the ones that say they move more righteously with the bag, they aren't moving with the creator because they're still thinking self. You know, some of them are doing self and then family, which you have to get self and what's around you organized first. But for the most part, if it was going on like that, we would be hearing about more communities being built. We aren't hearing about communities being built. It's not what we're hearing. People are going viral or doing things and getting big numbers and big money, and it stops there. You know, they change equipment, but they're still doing content, and they still haven't took any steps, any larger steps to show that, okay, well, since I did elevate, now I have to do a little bit more. It's like when you're a child. As soon as you get a little bit bigger, you can help your parents or help your household do a little bit more. You do a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like, my daughter didn't have to help wash dishes when she was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? But as she got a little bit older, she's able to help out with these things now. That's not mandatory on her to-do list, but it is one way of discipline and us doing something together. I like to help because I'll get over there and I'll do them with her. I live by myself, so I'm used to doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, solo dolo. That's just always been my process since I've been living this way. But I've always knew how to do all the basic necessities since I was little. I was a big brother, so I used to be left at the house at 9, 10, 11 years old to take care of my siblings or to watch over them. Not saying like take care of them like, hey, you need this, hey, you need that, but you know, my one brother is a year younger than me. My other one was like 4 or 5 years younger than me. So it wasn't like I had to do bottle feeding time and all of this stuff. But as far as like all the other little stuff that you have to do, I was already on top of that. I already knew how to do all of these things, you know what I mean? When it came to that department, I was forced to learn these things and mature a little bit faster in those levels. So when I didn't have to do those, that's when I wanted to just expand outward and explore a little bit more. But I could have done it a lot more righteously throughout my teenage years than the steps that I chose to take, you know what I mean? I would say my righteous walk through my teenage years was more 60-40, you know what I mean? Or I like 60-40. 60-40 more righteous, but still that 40% is pretty big to be just experimenting and exposing myself to a lot of low vibrational things and deities and entities and locations and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But it's a lot that we do out here that becomes normalized, and it's extremely demonic in a lot of beings, because demonic has this weird condensation on it. People don't want to be connected. They don't want to actually see themselves as being demonic, but you don't see yourself as godly either. So you have to be in one of those two spaces. You cannot say that I'm not demonic and I'm not godly and you're just in the middle. That's not how this universe operates. One side or the other is gonna pull you. One side or the other, you're gonna walk that way. You're either gonna walk more righteously or you're gonna walk more demonically. That's just how it operates, you know? And a lot of us are at our boiling points, you know? Like I was saying in the last video, we don't even want to tolerate low vibrating people no more. As soon as I start hearing certain words come out of beings' mouth, I automatically become dismissive in my inner space because I know what playbook they're using. And most likely, if I respond the way I want to respond, it's going to engage them in some kind of weird form that they feel as though they're being attacked, when all actuality, I just live in reality, you know. Don't ask me how I'm doing, because I don't want to have to lie about it. You know what I mean? So when people say, how you doing? Sometimes I do a head nod. Sometimes I be like, I keep it simple. I don't say like, oh yeah, I'm doing good, I'm doing fine. I don't try to pitch my voice up higher to make it seem as though I'm in a better space spiritually if I'm not that day. Usually I'm in a good space, you know what I mean? Even when I got all my weird ass obstacles going on, I done had weird ass obstacles since I came through the womb, you know what I mean? So for me, it's pressure on me 24/7, you know? Especially with me wanting to be present in my daughter's life. It's a constant battle. She knows that I'm here, but I still have to battle for her every single day, which is still fucking mind-blowing to me. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I ain't want to run it up too long, you know what I mean? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.